right now. All right. Hello, Miami-Dade teachers. My name is Nai. In case you haven't met me before in the past, I'm the creator of what was once known as the Sous Chef, now KP Culinary Arts, uh, a, um, a curriculum and a platform that does a lot of cool things, and I'm going to show you. I've been doing this for over 20 years now. Started the company back in '99, if you can think back that far. I think I was in grade school at the time. And then basically I set out to create a education tool that incorporates my two passions, learning and cooking, because I actually grew up in a Chinese restaurant. Uh, so um, so that's kind of like my inherited background, but I love computers and video games like everyone else does. So I kind of melded the two together. So a lot of things that I'm going to be showing you incorporates gamification and also artificial intelligence, which is actually pretty cool too. Um, so I've basically been doing this for quite a long while, and here we are, 2020, over 20 years later, and we're dealing with a massive onslaught of e-learning tools. But I've been here for a long time, and I've seen the landscape change and grow and evolve. And basically here, I'm here to help you navigate these treacherous waters digitally as best as you can with our curriculum. So I've had a long relationship with Miami-Dade. They were one of the first schools to adopt our program back in the early 2000s, when we had our first version of our software program, which you know, is ancient compared to now. And over the years, we've been coming back and being adopted again to where we are now. So you guys here are teachers who are in the second round of curriculum purchases for the middle school. So I'm going to be showing you how to use our program effectively with your students, and to make your jobs and your lives a lot easier at the same time. So here I am in my bungalow in the um, Atlantic Ocean in Bahamas. I'm just kidding. I'm stuck here in Phoenix, Arizona, in the middle of the desert. So it's a dry heat. Um, but we all want to think positively about our current situations and look for a brighter future. So with that being said, I'm going to show you a little bit about our curriculum here and show you how you can take it and you can make it into something that is your own. So unlike other curriculum that you've been probably handed, which are what we call canned curriculum, it's a curriculum that is set in a certain way, and if you want to make changes to it, you'll have probably take an act of Congress to get those things done effectively. Where ours is designed to be really flexible as well. So I'm going to show you, like, this is one of our modules called the Knife Knowledge module. And we have content, we have learning objectives, we have content over here on the left, and we have a clock which represents an activity or project. So our content, like most other content, is text, pictures, and audio. So most of our pages are narrated by a real person. It's not a robot voice. So kids who have a difficult time reading can also listen to it narrated to them. But we also incorporate multimedia such as video. So let's go to, well, here's some more pages on knife cutting hazards. All these wonderful things we don't want our students to play with when they're at home unsupervised. And here is a video on how to hold your knife properly. So if you click on this video, it'll launch.
How to hold the knife. Right, how to stand. Okay, at your cutting board, how do I address it? How do I address my product? First of all, I know I'm going to be here for a very long time, so I have to be comfortable. Logically, you'd think when you first address it, you want to stand square. But the answer to that is no. Look how I'm holding my knife at that angle.
So everyone can see, our instructional videos are shot in a certain style where you never see the chef's face. And that's not done on purpose, because we want the students to focus on the technique, on the information, and less on the personality. So this is not entertainment. We're not there to entertain them. We're here to give them short snippets, little, I guess we could call TikTok videos now, on the different techniques, so that they could get to what they need and then move on, and so on and so forth. So there's our video, and we have lots of videos scattered throughout the program, and then we're going to continue on the pages. So there's our text. And here's like, let's go back to here. And here's more knife cuts, videos. And it's very easy to navigate. Each module contains multiple pages. And then uh, we have here a project, which I'll be talking about later. So this is basically like what you'll eventually get to. But let's go back to the steps on how you will get here. So each of you will be receiving an email from me after this meeting with how to log in. And actually logging in is very simple. It's our website address, which is lms.kpcompass.com. And then it'll be your email address and your password is KP, which I would hope that you won't forget because KP Compass is part of the domain name. And then you can log in. So when you first log in, this is what you'll see: a blank class, which right now we don't have any students or any content populated in it yet. There's a handful of you out there which had existing accounts set up prior to this. I did not wipe your account, but so your account actually, if you've been using it, is retained just in case. So if you have stuff already there, that's because I left it alone. But for the vast majority of you, this is what you'll see: is this master course, a section called Coloring Principles, your name, and sign out and whatever. All right, so the very first thing you'll do is you'll set up your class structure. So you come over here in the bottom right. If we're covered by a picture, go ahead and move our picture. And you'll see a little big blue plus sign. So if you click on it, this lets you add two things: a master course or a product. So in a typical, from what I understand, in your typical setting, you have three grade levels that you want to divide your students up into. Now this is entirely up to you on how you want to structure your classes. Like I've worked with some teachers in Miami-Dade where they had sixth grade and seventh grade do the same thing, and then eighth grade do something different. They've had sixth graders do some things that are seventh grade. They have eighth graders who are doing sixth grade stuff. Whatever way you want to differentiate content, these are basically how you group the students. So for simplicity, I'm just going to call each of these groups according to their grade level: sixth master class, let's do seventh. And you can also call this like beginner, intermediate, advanced, strawberry, cherry, orange, Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Slytherin, whatever you want to call it. These are just basically nomenclatures that you use to kind of group the students together. And in a lot of situations, like where I've seen is like you might have a class that we have sixth, seventh, and eighth graders in the same class, but they'll be working on different content. This is how you can differentiate the content so that they'll be working on their own thing at their own pace, so that you don't have to have everyone at the same place. But you can also do it that way, where you can have one master class and have everyone working on the same exact thing, which I don't blame you, given how chaotic everything is. Teachers actually go ahead and do that model because you want to keep your hair and your sanity. So you're just like saying, okay, everyone, this week we're working on knife skills. Next week we're all working on sanitation, or we're all working on nutrition. So whatever fits your lesson plans, your pacing guide, you could basically make it into that. So now that we've actually created these different divisions, we come over here to the sixth grade and we expand the Coloring Principles module. And in it, you'll see we have all these different topics here. So what you decide is, okay, I'm assuming that you're probably going to start on this after Christmas, after winter break. So you just look at this, you list, and you go, okay, we're going to obviously start with student introduction or student orientation, because that's the first thing they should all do to get used to what the program is. And we're going to be working on, in sixth grade, food safety essentials, knife skills, and preparing cold foods. I don't know what your actual standards are that you need to cover in that, but let's just pretend. So I've selected these three. Now you can also select just two or one and then add to it as you go on. So that's all dependent on you. So you can say, you start off school, you start off with food safety essentials, you hit save. It's going to put that module into that sixth grade class. And then you go, okay, the next week we're going to be doing measurements because everyone loves measurements and calculations. Just kidding. And then I add that, and then as the school year goes on, you could continually add it. There's other ways where you can say, okay, this is my entire lesson plan for the rest of the school year, so I'm going to put everything there, and then set goals for my students, and then basically use that, and then they could go self-paced in a way and go more asynchronous. So now that I've selected a few, I'm going to cancel it. So in this case, I've selected 3 for 6th grade. Now, 7th grade, I do the same thing. So in 7th grade, I go, okay, I'm going to add student orientation. Let's see here. We're going to be working on cold foods and egg dishes next. So then I hit save, and same thing for 8th grade. Now, for a lot of you, 8th grade is like this culmination course. So if you want to treat it as that, let's say they've already been doing your classes for 2 years and they're already familiar with everything, you could do this, which is basically add everything and say, okay, we're gonna do it as a kind of like a free form class, and you're gonna go back and reference these different materials so that you kind of use it as an encyclopedia. And then you can say, okay, next week we're gonna work on the information from sanitation duties, and the following week we work on information from cooking techniques. So you can kind of go a little bit more free flow on that. That's just another way of teaching. So like I said, our system can be adapted to whatever way you are most comfortable with teaching, and there are multiple strategies of approaching it. So you don't have to say this is the only way you can teach it. There's many different ways you can teach the materials, just like in education. Your program is different than your program, even though you're in Miami-Dade schools, you're both in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, but you teach entirely differently. So that's what makes everything spicy and interesting. So I'm gonna just do it this way. So I hit save, and now 8th grade has the reference version of it. You can, however, go back and remove content by unchecking it. We recommend that you do not do that if a student has already worked on that content because it'll get removed. But there's multiple ways to remove content. All right, so now that we've added content, the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to go to 7th grade since I selected. Actually, let's go to 6th grade. I'm going to go to 6th grade. So I'm in the 6th grade master course, and you notice that I have a couple of things I can do. First off, you'll see the X. That means that I can remove this module, just like kind of how I could do it earlier in the home screen. So I'm not going to remove it. But the other important thing is, let's say you want to do calculations first ahead of food safety essentials. You could actually rearrange modules. The importance of the order will be apparent to you when I show you the student account, which will then basically indicate, like, when a student logs in, the system will look at the items that are in this class, and let's say first thing you need to work on is student orientation. Once you're done with that, you're going to work on calculations. Then you're going to work on food safety essentials. So if you have food safety essentials above calculations, obviously the system will tell them to do food safety essentials first until you make that change. You could also make these edits inside the pages too, inside the module. So inside this module, we have these pages of information, like here's unit pricing, okay? But let's say I want the students to learn unit pricing before everything. I could actually move that page of content ahead of everything else. So you could actually micro fine tune these modules if you feel like you need to. That's very rare, but it does happen. What more likely happens is this. You go, okay, in 6th grade, we don't do costing, we don't do true costs, and we don't do this, and we don't do any of this. But we do want to do this, so you can actually remove the costing materials and keep the measurement stuff in that module. And then you can say in 7th grade, we're going to introduce the measurements and the costing, so that the 7th graders will have that old information and then new information on top of that. I hope that makes sense to everyone. So that way you can pare down the information for the 6th graders, so they're getting the same module but less content. And then when they move on to 7th grade, then they'll be like, okay, same information, but now they have 5 additional pages of information, so that next year they'll be like, okay, I've seen this before, but now here's what's new. And then they continue on from that model. So those are that's what you would do in the most likely scenario of editing the content in the the individual pages information to make it fit your grade level's needs. Okay, so now that you know how to remove and edit and change the order of things, the next thing we'll need to do is set up the classes. Okay, so depending on your situation, you might have multiple periods. So let's say you have 3 6th grade classes. So click on new term. I'm going to say I want 3 6th grade periods. So I'm going to hit submit. So what it's doing now, it's creating 3 blank periods. So I'll call this one 6th period 4, 6th period 7, and 6th period. Oops, dang it, let me click there. 6th period 9. Normally has a 9th period, I hope. So now that I've created those classes, then this will be appropriate. But you probably will say to me, hey, I have 4. Oops, I just clicked on add course. You can add them individually by clicking on add course. So you see I'm doing it one at a time. Let's say I have 4 7th grade courses, or I've added more courses. So I'll do 7th period 2, 7th period 4, 7th period 5, and 7th period 8. So you notice that here we have a 7th grade class that's in period 4, and here's a 5th grade class in period 4. So this represents those teachers who have multiple grade levels in the same class that that they have it. Wait. So somebody wrote a message saying you didn't get the last step. So which step was it? The new term or add course? So I'll do it one more time. So new term sets you up with a automatically sets up the number of classes you want. But I want to keep in mind that if you have a course in the class, let's just say I'm in 8th grade, I have this class. I'm just going to type in some gibberish, and I hit new term. What's going to do is it's going to archive or delete the old class and put in new classes. So let's say I have 2 8th grade classes. So new term is exactly what it means. It's like it's a new term, it's a new school year. So let's get rid of the old, let's throw in some new. It usually is only clicked at the beginning of the school year. Add course lets you add individual courses one at a time. So if you need to add it in our period, you can do that. So this one's like a period 1 and 8th period 3.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. So now that we have the classes set up, this might be something that looks similar to yours. You might have only a few classes to manage. Some of you might have way too many classes to manage, but this is the way you would structure the various ways to look at it. So now that I have these classes set up, I'm going to show you the 2 different things that will happen to you in the very beginning, which will cause a little confusion. So you're going, let's say you go to 7th grade period 3, and you want to make some edits. You notice that the X and the equal sign is missing because I'm actually in period 3. So I can't edit this content because I'm in the classroom. So I need to go back to the master. So I'm going to go back home. I'm going to click on the 7th grade master, and you notice that the banner is red. And we also have an edit button over here on the top right. That means that I'm able to make edits to it. So this also means that any changes I make here will affect all the classes that are in the 7th grade, which is by design because you don't want to do this 5 times. You have 5 periods of 7 years. So I just want to make sure that you keep in mind that if you want to make edits, look for the red banner, and also the fact that that's one of the earlier. Okay, so now let's go ahead and so once you have the classes set up, now your students can sign up for your classes. To do that, it's very simple. So I'm going to go to 6th grade period 4. Now 6th grade period 4 over here on the top right, course code. The course code is unique to this particular period class. So in this case, it is XW8622. I think you're washing dishes or something. Can't tell. Um, there we go. So this is the code that you'll give the students. So when a student comes to our site, what they'll do is they'll type in their email address. So whatever their Miami-Dade student ID number is, I'm just gonna type in this email address at
Yeah,
kp.
excuse me, everybody, please mute so you
Yeah,
can
they're all
hear
muted.
him.
They're all muted except for this. All right, we're good. And if you have any questions, type in the chat and or raise your hand. But probably type in the chat is best. Okay, so then the student will come over here and they'll type in a password. Now the password can be something that's already assigned by you, or if they have problems with password, we recommend that you use a very simple password that we tell everyone to use, which is 1, 2, 3. That way, if they're using a mobile device, they're not worrying about capitalizations and things like that. Numbers are always better than all these weird stuff. And we don't require any weird characters. In fact, we even allow students and teachers to have passwords that are only 1 character long. Because who the heck wants to hack into someone's account and do homework, really? So it's really not, we don't have any like those crazy security requirements that a lot of these other programs require. So we call it use the KISS simple, keep it simple, stupid. So after they type in their password, they click on create. Then here they'll type in their name. So this is like me. Now the way that the student will show up in the roster is alphabetically by what's typed in here. So if you want your students to show up in your roster last name first, you just instruct your students to type in last name first. So it all depends on your preference. You can even, if you allow it, have them use nicknames, have them use gamer tags. But I guess it all depends on how you want to enforce discipline amongst your kiddos there. Then they'll type in their email address to verify that they typed it in correct the first time. Okay, so you notice that I have misspelled Miami. So I hit enter, and it's telling me it's red. Obviously, I typed in something wrong. Now, a lot of students will say, oh gosh, I thought I typed it right. Now, if they typed it right here, then and it's showing up red, that means that they did it wrong the first time, so they'll need to cancel and do it over again. So since I typed it in right, do that, and now it's not red anymore. Then they type in the course code, which we will be providing through, I think you guys are using Canvas, right? Or something. Can't remember which platform you're using. There are so many different platforms out there. It's not D2L, I hope. Anyway, so now that I typed in the course code, you'll see that it's green down here, and the student has entered into the 6th period 4. Now, I would recommend that you give a more descriptive name than 6th period 4. You can put your name in there. You can give it some more creative flair, whatever you want, other than something that's that generic. All right, so somebody wrote, okay, Microsoft Teams is what you guys are using. Okay, all right, Teams works, except for when it doesn't allow me to log into your meeting. All right, so now that we're done here, I click on Start Learning, and I am in as a student. Voila, here I am, student 6th grade period 4, student Miami. And if I go over to my teacher account now, I'm going to click on Dashboard, and I'm not going to, oh wait, it did show up. Sometimes it doesn't show up, and you might need to log out and log back in. A lot of it depends on how the server is feeling at the moment. So here is the student. Now, one very critical function that you'll encounter with your students, especially in the very beginning, is yes, Kimberly, we will be recording. We are recording this video, and we will be posted as soon as we're done here. Okay. One very important thing is like the students will log in the first day. they somehow made it through that email verification part. It typed in their email address wrong twice. So that happens. So then they come to the second day and they say, Mr. Wang, I can't log in. I can't log in. And you'd be like, oh, okay, are you typing your email address incorrectly? And the student says yes. And then you go to the student, you click on the student, and you look at their profile, and you look at their email address, and you'll notice that they typed in a .com instead of a .edu or a um, dot something. So they'll mess it up somehow. Like I think you guys, if you guys have the student's email address, they'll miss the plural of students. That happens a lot, as you probably have already encountered. So this is a way to verify that they typed it in correctly. Now, unfortunately, you cannot change it because there's rules against changing email addresses because we don't want somebody to impersonate somebody else just by changing the email address. So the email addresses are set in stone. So if this is the case, I recommend deleting the student and then having them register again. So that's how you verify that. Now, there comes a time when the student is trying to log in, but they somehow messed up their password. So normally when they mess up their password, they click on a button and an email is sent to them with instructions on how to change their password. So in some cases, the email is blocked by your school servers, or they just can't receive the email. So if you click on this button that says reset password, these are the same exact instructions that would be sent to your student. So basically you could send this information to your students so they can change their own password, or more easier step is to do it yourself. So just go and log in as a student, type in the password that you want it to be, click on forgot password, and then type in this code, and then you'll change it for them. That sometimes saves a lot of grief and aggravation, especially with a lot of back and forth emails about somehow they messed it up. Believe me, these past 3 months have been quite fun dealing with students just not following directions. I'm sure a few of you might relate to that. Okay, so then now that we've gone through this part of the process, we're going to go into the next big thing is how the students get graded. Okay, so grades are done very uniquely. So first thing I recommend is that every one of you make a student account on your own and sign yourself into one of your classes or all of your classes, like your 6th grade, your 7th grade, 8th grade. That way you can see what they're seeing, and you can log in as a student and do the activities and do what they're doing. So when you're going through a student orientation, we talk about the very fundamental thing that our system does, which is a unique formative assessment system called Check Your Knowledge. So I'm just going to go through a student orientation module really quick here, just to show you how the students would go through it. Now they'll go through it, they'll listen to it, hopefully they'll read it and retain it. And 90% of, I'll just say stupid questions, are the fact that they don't read the go through the student orientation module. There's also practice questions at the bottom. And please keep in mind that these practice questions don't count towards their overall grade until they do a check your knowledge. And we actually mentioned that in the instructions. So if the student says, hey, I have a color in my module, and then on your screen, you say, hey, you haven't done a check your knowledge yet, that's why. So here is, the different pages. Here's talking about check your knowledge, the different colors. And this is a very important video. In fact, I would recommend that you have a synchronous session and just have the students sit in front of their computers and watch this all together, which I'm going to do right now. Take a little sip.
Now that you have an understanding of how this classroom works, let's spend a little time talking about how we determine mastery, which basically means your knowledge of a concept is excellent. This learning system uses a complex algorithm to make predictions about how well you know the concepts that you are working with. Every time you answer a question in a knowledge check, it works something like this. Well, it's actually a little more complicated than that. Let's say you're shooting free throws. You missed 3 in a row. But then you make 1. Is that mastery? Are you now excellent at making free throws? How much confidence do you and your coach have that you will make the next shot? Think of it like a sports analyst. Here's an overhead view of the basketball court. The X's represent where you take each shot. Close to the rim, you're pretty good. However, those shots are fairly easy. We can't tell if you're a great player yet. Now, if you back up a little farther, the shots get more difficult and we learn more about how skilled you are. Then let's mix in some shots from here and way back here. Only a pro could make a shot from here. Now we can see how consistent you are at shooting from a variety of distances.
Is that
Just
you?
like on the basketball court, the learning system combines a mix of challenges.
Yeah.
Some questions are easier and some are harder. The combined number of questions answered correctly, along with the difficulty of the questions, determines a color ranking for each page. Gray means there were no questions on that page. Black, no questions were answered correctly. Red, novice, could use some improvement. Yellow, apprentice, good job. Green, scholar, you could teach this concept. One question answered correctly will not automatically give you a green. Just like making one basketball shot doesn't make you a pro athlete. And the feedback colors are not a grade. They are simply meant to help you track your progress. Your goal should be to show improvement and try to move up the color scale. This is all practice for the checkpoint test. But take the practice seriously. Don't be like Larry Longshot.
I don't need to practice. I'm much better in a game situation. I don't care what color I have. I'm gonna rule in a game. Remember that half-court shot I made 4 years ago? I'm awesome!
Who would you rather have on your team in a game situation? The player who practices and makes progress?
And there we go. We've got a few more seconds, but you guys all get the drift. It's all about mastery and practice. So if they actually watch this video and read the instructions, they'll make a good effort. And you'll actually have some students who will be skirting the system and they'll try to do one question or two questions, and obviously we have all those. And I know that engagement is a very big issue right now, especially with distance learning. So we try to make it as fun as possible. So I'm going to go into some of the gamification features here in a minute. But now we have a better understanding of mastery learning. So it's all about their effort and their willingness to use it as a self-help tool. In normal times, this is great because students, when they're motivated to want to get an A in the class, then this gives them a great tool to tell them, hey, you didn't do very well on this particular page. You need to go back and study again so you could then improve on it. But given the situation, any kind of positive feedback is good to give them, and so on. So then once they get to the end of a module, they'll be taken automatically to a check your knowledge. So that in the orientation, we have some pretty funny questions and answers here. So I'm not going to go through and answer a bunch of these, but when I finish, then I'll get colors such as like this. Oh, not that. Like this. So telling me what I'm good at, what I'm not so good at. And if you can see, I just clicked on this button that says remediation only. So it actually eliminates the content that they've already passed. So this content will get smaller and smaller and smaller as I master each page. So then that way I'm only going to be focusing on the things that are red and yellow to then, repeat and remediate. So it's all about remediation in our particular platform. So that's our automatic formative assessment, and it uses artificial intelligence to select questions, just like in the video, using complex algorithms, which are actually quite complex. So that part is true. And it starts to build a profile on the student's abilities. So pretty cool stuff. Now, the other thing that we mentioned is that, this is a formative assessment, but summative exams still need to be created by you. So summative exams is we give you a test making tool, which will make it give a very easy way to create tests. So I'm going to go back to the teacher account, Miami-Dade teacher, and I'm going to show you how to make a test. Now, to make tests, you need to do it in the master class. So let's do it in 7th grade. Let's do it in prepare egg dishes module. Actually, let's do it in 8th grade since we have a lot more stuff. I'm going to show you what happens when you have a complicated classroom situation. So the fewer modules will make it a little easier to make tests, but it's the same either way. So now I'm in the master course 8th grade. I have this button over here on the left called Save Tests. Okay, once I go to that, it'll show me all the tests that I've created. In this case, none. Down here on the bottom right, if our pictures are not blocking the button, the big blue button that I showed you earlier again, you click on it and it'll give you 2 options: a dynamic and a checkpoint test. Now there's the difference between the two, and I'll describe the two. So I'm going to create a checkpoint test, which is our good old traditional one and done. You take the test, you get a grade. Dynamic test is dynamic, hence the word dynamic test. And that actually uses artificial intelligence. We also use like magic and wizardry, garnered from the Harry Potter wizarding world. Actually, no, but it uses a lot of science and IRT, which if you want to Google it, it stands for item response theory, which is a statistical engine and measurement analysis of questions and probability. But it suffices to say we kind of pick the questions that are most challenging for the student for this test. So think of it as a overall assessment. But mind you, you can't use it as a summative grade because every student gets different questions, and it's also measured to their ability. So you might have a student who aces everything, but then gets all the hardest questions and bombs this one, which it's all about probability. And then another, it does a whole lot of things, but because it's all different questions, you really shouldn't use it as a like you got 80%, here's your 80 points. You have to create regular checkpoint tests. So with the dynamic test, I'm going to call this one like quarter test, because if you put the test in there, it's going to take all the questions from all the modules that you have in there, and then select, in this case, 30 questions. And we can also allow them to retry, but I'd rather leave that option off. But what we're really going to do is we're going to create a regular test. So I have this one called new test. And this one will be covering, let's just go ahead and open this test up. I am not naming it yet because I haven't decided what I'm going to do with it. Let's see here. Oh, wait. I might need a refresh because I just created this account. Oh, wait, I got signed out. That's why. There we go. They say, what happened to the... Okay, let's go to... Yeah. Okay, why am I not signing in? Oh, I know why. I forgot. I changed. It's kpes.com. Yeah. I just created this too. That's why. Did I misspell my N? No, I didn't. That's the problem with having way too many accounts. Oh. I do 1, 2, 3 by accident.
No, I think you got Miami spelled wrong. Miami.
Yeah, I'm just trying the different variations of what I might have typed. Okay. Well, hold on a second. I'm gonna check on something really quick. Well, moving on. Let me just go to my other account. Oh, I feel like I just created an account, so I don't even have it written down. Let's go to my good old demo account. Okay, so in this account, I am going to create a test here. Oh no, I need to go to the master. Sorry. Yeah, this is embarrassing. I'm the computer tech wizard, and I've flubbed on my own training. let's do this one for IUP. Okay, so now I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna create a test. I'm not titling it yet. Okay. All right, now this is what it should have happened. It should have opened up and showed me all the modules that are in this particular class. And I am going to go and let's say I'm going to make a test on food and nutrition. So I'll go here and expand food and nutrition. Here is the test questions. We have a huge item bank, like about 3 to 8 times larger than most other vendors, because in order for our artificial intelligence system to work properly, we need to have a lot of questions so that they could make decisions. You know, decisions are important. I'm not going to belabor that point, but imagine if you only had 3 questions to ask about essential nutrients to the students, but you want more variety, then this is what we say we have more variety. So you'll notice that all the questions have a Bloom's taxonomy associated with it. So in this case, these nutrition questions are primarily tagged remember. We have an understand. Depending on the module, there will be more understands than remembers, and vice versa. So I come over here and let's say I want to make a 5-question quiz or test. So I come over here, I select the question. Oops, I click on it twice by accident. I'm going to pick that one. I'm going to pick this one. And depending on your internet, it might take a few seconds for it to register. Okay, so I've just selected 5 questions. Now, you'll also notice that the questions are tied directly to a page of content. So I just know that I'm selecting questions from USDA MyPlate. Or here, I'm selecting questions from basic metabolism. So I'll pick 2 more. Let's do here, this one, and that one. Okay, once I'm done selecting the questions, I will go down here, scroll down to the very bottom, and I'll go faster. There we go, and I'll click on Save. Now, this is important because let's say I want to make a quiz that encompasses 2 modules. I'll have to go and click on Save before I go into the next module. So let's say I want to talk about to select some questions from culinary history, for example. So I could come over here and I could create a test based on those 2 modules of content. So you can mix and match all you want. Although I would recommend that you keep things pretty tight for your students. Okay, now that I've selected these 3 questions, I think I should have a total of 10 now. I click on Save. No, maybe 7, 8, 9. 9. Okay, so I'm at the top. I just scroll to the top, and I'm going to call this one the nutrition history test because we like to mix things up. Okay, so now I've given the test a name. It'll take a second for it to update. There we go. And then I could click on Done and then make the test available for them to do electronically. But let's say you have some special needs or IEP students who cannot do tests online. They have to do a paper pencil method. You have the ability to print the test as well. So you click on the printer friendly version. You come over here. You can actually change the number of distractors. So let's do 3 or 4. Let's do 4 and hit OK. And it creates the test, which then I could take over here and copy and paste it to a word processing and then print it out for them. Excuse me. And you'll also notice down here we have the answer key. Now, in the pre-COVID times and probably post-COVID times, this is also a good thing to do, which is like if you remember, the first question is why is drinking fruit juices not a good substitute? Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste this and call this one version A. And I'm going to go over here, click on printer friendly, and hit OK. And then now I have version B. So it automatically randomizes the questions and even goes as far as randomizing the multiple choice answers so that if you had students sitting really close proximity to each other, less than 6 feet, let's say like in next year, then you can actually pass out A/B versions of the test where you can do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, or give each student their own unique test. um, go hog wild as much as you want your TA to grade your materials if you have a TA or parent volunteer. So that's how you create the test. So once we're done here, the test is created. It's currently turned off. So if I want to turn it on, if over here to the right, so if it might be blocked by the pictures of our faces, I could toggle the switch to turn it on. The little so when the students log in, they'll see the test. If I have it turned off, they log in, they won't see the test. So that's how that works. So you can turn it on, turn it off according to your schedule, whatever you need for your students. Oh, I also forgot to mention that everything I'm describing here will be also in a document form with videos, with animations and everything like that. So so you can refer to the documentation as well and go through all these different choices. Okay, so now that the test is created, the students will log in. So here is my happy student, John Graduate, and he'll click on the class, and then he should see that, you know, in this case I have 3 tests that I need to take. I have not taken yet: the final, dynamic, and front of the house test. So I click on it. Oh, that's right, I didn't select any questions for that test. Let's do this one. Where is it? Okay, let's go back. I probably got to sign out again. Yep, that's exactly what happened. Okay, let's. Nope, I think I must have gimped it. And then, okay, so if that test were working, I would be taken to a test and then tested accordingly. Okay, so the next thing after you get the test grades, you'll see this. This is an example of our grade section for SurfSafe, for example. I'm using this because it's the most comprehensive to display. So we see we have the first module, which is student orientation, and then the second one, which is a module. Keep it safe. And then the third item is the test. So we go module, test, module, test, module, test, module, test. So this is your comprehensive bird's eye view of the class. So this is very good for you because if you're looking at the curriculum, and let's say on Friday, you're going to be going over this section 16, which is food safety management. So let's say you tell the students, go work on it. You know, I want you to have everything done by Thursday night. So Thursday evening or Friday morning, you log in and you look at the students. You go, okay, these 2 students have not done anything yet, so get on them. And most of the students are showing up yellow. So that means that's telling you as an overview that the students aren't getting the information as readily as compared to item number 10, which is purchasing and storing. So this will let you go, okay, I might need to spend more time discussing the topics in here as opposed to this one, which everyone seems to have a better understanding of. So think of it as like an overall diagnostic of the class. You can see trends. So you can say, okay, I might need to spend more time on math, conversions, and measurements, which I know everyone will need to spend time on, so on and so forth. This tells you your test average, and if you were doing SurfSafe, this would actually tell you their level of engagement. So we were talking about our SurfSafe program. We say if this number is high and they have a very good average here of engagement, then they're going to pass the SurfSafe exam with flying colors. And I know that Wayne here has had a lot of great data and experience with how this prediction is pretty about 80 to 90% accurate. And there I see Wayne. How you doing, Wayne? So sorry, I didn't mean to call you out, but this is your 7th year using our program now for SurfSafe. Anyway,
Yes.
All right. So then, so that's how you read the grades. Now, just in case if some fluke happens and a student really bombs a test, you can click on the test, and then you'll be able to reset the test by clicking on the reset test button. Now, I'm not going to go over what these colors mean because that's in the documentation, but suffice it to say it's our level of confidence of their ability to answer this question correctly. Just like in the video I showed you, we have low confidence that this student will answer this question correctly in the future until they prove otherwise. Whereas these green ones, they have high confidence. So the documentation will go into a more detailed explanation of that process here, but it's a good analysis tool nonetheless. Okay, so now that we've we've checked our grades, we've done these different things. Now we're going to go to the other item that's in our program, which is projects and activities. So projects and activities are represented by this clock-looking thing. So you hover over it, says it's a project or activity. And we have projects scattered throughout each module, so there might be 1, 2, or 3. It can range from something as simple as a crossword puzzle to something as complicated as pitching a Food Network show and doing a presentation in front of class and putting up, creating a poster board or whatever. So the important thing about these projects is that first off, you'll need to go in and check it out and see if it's something you want to use. And secondly, if you need to edit it. So a lot of these projects were designed for in-classroom use. So that means that they weren't specifically written for distance learning or at-home use. So you might look at this and go, okay, step 3, it might say use a typewriter, and you say, oh, we don't have typewriters at home anymore. Well, we have our speak and spells. So then what you can do is you can look at this project and you see that we have this badge here. And actually, if the student looks at it, let me just show you the contrasting view. You'll see that the badge here is partially obscured, and this shows their progress through this project. So I'm going to go ahead and click on edit here. And I get into our authoring mode, which then lets me change the title of it. So if you want to call it something different, you can. If you can upload your own badge if you want. So if you want to do a Bitmoji badge, you go right ahead. You can define the project, the problem statement. So if this problem statement you want to add more to it, you can go ahead and do that. So we give you a lot of ways to edit. You'll leave number 4 alone because that kind of tells the student what page of content they can reference. Number 5 is probably where you do most of your edits. So if it's something that's saying, hey, you need to use this particular item and you don't have that item, you can write substitutions in here. So you can go or use this or use that or okay. So I'm not going to save this so that I'm not going to make changes. If you want to upload a PDF or a PowerPoint, you can add resources, but you're probably not going to do that. And this lets you edit the steps, which lets you edit more instructions. And here's this one called teacher only. So if you see anything in gold, that means only you can see it. It's kind of like the teacher notes in the margins of teacher edition books. So that's what that does. You'll skip number 8, but number 9 is where you'll spend most of your time. So this is where we actually ask the students to do something, and you have to actually grade it. So in this case, we have a question: do you think it's easy to become a celebrity chef? So the student has to answer it. But if you don't like that question, you could delete it, or you could change that question. So here we have 2 prompts, and we have a file upload. Now, since you're using Microsoft Teams, you might want to just remove this entirely and say in the instructions, go in and edit, upload your presentation to wherever they normally upload. This is only for schools where they don't have their own LMS system, so they could say, okay, upload to KP. We don't have Google Drive. We don't have email. We don't have anything, so you can upload it. Now it's important that you remove it because if they don't upload something, they'll never complete the badge. So remove it. And then we have an essay, a rubric here, which you can use or remove. All right, so let's go ahead and I'm going to go to my student and I'm going to work on this particular project called. I'm going to do this one. Cuisine, compare and contrast. So as you can see, I've already gone through, I'm probably about 60% done with this, and I have a few more items to do. So down here, I have step 4, submit evidence. So I'm looking as a student now, so you can see it looks a little different. So here is a question, and this is the answer that I've written, and I'm going to submit it to the teacher. So you notice it's red currently. That means the teacher rejected it. So teacher didn't like it. Otherwise, it would be gray. It will start out gray, and I'm going to submit it. It's going to turn yellow. That means it's waiting for the teacher to grade it. This one's green, so the teacher liked my answer, COVID-19, as the prediction to the next major changes in cuisine. You know, the student was a soothsayer. I still have an uploaded file, so you can see that's great. And I've been given, I still have to check my knowledge, so I have gray here. And I've been given 10 points on the grading rubric already. So the teacher's already graded me, even though I haven't finished this project. Go figure. Okay, so now I'm in the teacher account, so I flipped over to the teacher. So to grade that, it's very simple. I just need to go to dashboard, and I need to click on John Graduate. So here, John Graduate is telling me I have not 12, because I just submitted something. So it should be updating to possibly 13. There we go, 13 items. So as a teacher, I have 13 items that I need to address, or procrastinate. But probably not procrastinate. So I click on John Graduate, and then over here I'll have this button called Evidence. So I expand that, and this will show me all the projects that John has worked on, which John has done a lot of work. And I'm going to find the one called Cuisine Compare and Contrast. So here it is. So it's telling me I have one that requires my attention and two that I've already okayed. And there's 3 items total. I mean, 3 out of 5 items total. So here's his answer, and it was updated 2 minutes ago. Way to go, John. And here is his answer for COVID-19 129 days ago. That's a long time ago. And this essay was graded 28. This grading rubric was updated 28 days ago. So let's say, for example, I like it. I hit accept, and it'll turn green. But let's just say I don't like it. I don't like your answer, John. I'm going to reject it. So this automatically turns it red, and he's going to go and answer it again. But if you want to leave a little note, you could collect it. So I'm clicking on collect. This lets me edit it and say, teacher says you need to be realistic. Okay. And I hit submit. So now that I've annotated it, I put it back in the queue, and I can reject it. So now it's back to John, and John now has to rewrite this answer, and then you'll see the note from you. So that's just one thing you can do. Now I'm going to show you how to grade a rubric. We all know how to do that. And so I'm going to show you how we do it here. So I'm click on change grade. So this just basically is me saying I'm starting over. Here's a rubric, idea and content, and here's the different values. So if I click on no score, obviously I won't get a score, but let's say this is a pretty good idea. So here we go, 2 points for that. Let's say you have decent organization, you have limited use of vocabulary, not clear in communication, so terrible word choice, but you do have a expressive voice, so I'm going to give you this on voice. Your sentence structure flows well, but you have terrible grammar, spelling, punctuation. So here we go. You got 58% out of 16, 9.33%, 9.33 points, and now that rubric has been graded. So that's how you grade a project. And basically, you know, the first decision you need to make is, do I want this project? If you don't, delete the project. If you want the project, make sure that the instructions fit what you need, make the changes that you need to it, and delete any evidence that the student can't fulfill or can fulfill in a different way. So that's basically how you grade a project here in KP. There we have it. So this is the nuts and bolts of how to use our program. So just to recap, I showed you how to add content to a class, how to create classes by using master courses. So you do as many as you need for your grades, 1, 2, or 3, or 4. You know, you might have one that's designed specifically for SPED students. So you can actually create a master class for just those students. Basically, it's just thinking of 4 different ways to differentiate content, or 5, or 6. Hopefully, you won't have that many. And then you put multiple periods in one. And then you put the contents you want in the classes, you rearrange it, you create the tests, and then you have them rock and roll. So with that being said, you might have any questions from the audience. So I do see we have one chat question. So Okay, never mind. They're not questions. They're just people typing in attendance. No questions. Good. So go ahead and unmute yourself if you like, and tell me if, how do you feel about this that I've demonstrated to you? Do you feel confident? Do you feel good about it? Are there any things that I need to address that's you're a little iffy about the process here? Anybody want to say something? Wayne, do you want to say hi? Okay.
Yeah. Nye, I don't mind. I don't mind sharing my screen briefly to show, if you want me to, what my Serve Safe group looked like last year on the KP for the 10 kids that passed.
Well, I mean, I don't think it applies because this group isn't doing Surf Safe.
Okay. No problem.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah. So, but I was just using that as an example. But thank you for chiming in about that. And yes, you did. Your kids did wonderfully last year, even at the even though the end of the school year was completely jacked up.
Well, the KP program definitely helped. Definitely helped.
Thank you.
So
Okay.
while you're thinking of the question, guys, make sure on the chart you write your name to confirm the attendance.
If I may, I think this is an excellent platform. It seems very user-friendly. It was well thought out as well. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for the feedback. I do appreciate it. You know, as designers, I always love to hear that we did a very good, intelligent design.
Well thought out.
Just like if you're a cake boss, you know, you know all the intricacies that goes into piping that icing.
And I just want to add that Nai is always there for you guys. He's not only the friendly user, he's also friendly. He's available for you whenever you need his help. One more time, guys, if you did not write your name on the chart, go ahead and write your name to confirm the attendance. And also Nai will know how many you were there because we got the license for 18 teachers. And looks like there are 12 teachers are attending today. So
11 not counting you.
actually, yeah, I'm counting myself too, right?
Yeah,
11. No, there was 12. I think somebody left from
Yeah.
there. Barnes Burton is not there. Yeah. Because I counted before. That's why.
Oh, I'm here.
You're here? Okay,
Yes, I am.
Yeah, somebody left.
Yeah,
But and that's the reason you make sure on the chart you write your name.
and that reminds me, I was gonna.
No, I typed it in. My name's
I'm
listed.
sorry. Yeah.
I was gonna shift.
Yeah, it's not like you left because I think sometimes because of the connection they they log again, so that's why it's happening. So any question for Mr. Wang?
I have like one cool tip that I forgot to mention earlier.
Sure. Yeah.
When I was doing the student section. So if you have any like ELL or ESL students that in your class and you know they need something translated, our program is an open uses open web standards. That means that like like other platforms they use closed web standards. That means that third-party programs can't read their content. Like like you highlight some stuff, you try to copy it, won't let you copy. So we went with an open standard because that way you can do some cool stuff like this. So so I have a program called plugin on my browser extension on my Chrome called Read Aloud, which actually reads the text rather than having a human read it to me. I have a text-to-speech engine read it to me. So I'm going to highlight this text here and have it read. And I do that because I'm actually an auditory learner. I can't read and retain, so I have to read and listen at the same time. So I know a lot of your learners are like that. So here's like what I would do with and this actually I still do that as an adult to listen to read content. So I click on this.
As long as humans have gathered together, there have been cooks preparing food for consumption or for barter and trade. However, it is only in recent sense.
Okay, so you can see that it's playing pretty fast because that's the speed at which I can listen to. So let's tone it down from nice speed to regular humans, like you all, and then so
for as long as humans have gathered together, there have been cooks preparing food for consumption or for barter and trade.
So let's let you make a lot of cool things like change the speed, the pitch, the voice. So I actually am listening to British female. So I guess I like the British accent. But the other cool thing is I also paired this with the plugin called Google Translate, as you all probably know. What Google Translate does is if you have that plugin installed, you can click on Translate this page. And what I can do here now is I could actually translate this from English to Spanish. So here we go. Here's the words all translated into Spanish. And then I click on read aloud. Okay. Obviously, that's not right because a British person can't speak Spanish very well in this case. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to change my voice to what is that? Español. And then
Desde que los seres humanos se han reunido, ha habido cocineros que preparan alimentos para el consumo, para el trueque y el comercio.
So there we go. So now we have the written words spoken to them in probably their native language, which will help in the learning process as well. So that's just a cool tip that we've been telling teachers this past year a lot on, because these students are struggling and we need to give them every aid that we can. This is a free tool that can be easily plugged into any browser and used accordingly. So that's that. And then on the flip side, I'm going to switch back to English. And let's go ahead and listen to how this sounds.
Foras longas humans have gathered together, have been cooks preparing food for consumption.
All right, so reading English with a heavy Spanish accent. Pretty cool. So that's just a cool tip that I forgot to mention earlier, but I'm glad I remembered at the end. So I'm pretty sure that this should be useful to all in many cases. So any questions, anything that comes to mind? Have differentiated content for each grade level. Yes, I covered that in the first 12 minutes when we were setting up classes. So if you missed it, you have to get to the back and watch the video. Okay, that's a good question. So yeah, you are able to differentiate content. You just need to select the modules and then parse out the pages. So it's basically like, think of it this way: you have your textbook and you go, I'm going to rip out chapter 2, but then I'm also going to rip out pages 17, 18, 19, 20, toss them out. So it's like, so you just take the book and tear it up into little pieces. Just take out your frustration. Good questions. Okay, so Diana says, I would like to use this program. Okay, so I'm going to email everyone how to log in, but basically it's very simple. You just need to go to lms.kpcompass.com. Oh wait, I just realized that you guys weren't seeing what I was clicking on because I actually paused the screen. I apologize, but you guys heard it, right? Yeah, but somebody should have said, "Nah, you're not showing anything." That's because I paused it because I was loading some things up. So what I was showing earlier was the plugin Read Aloud, which is up here on the top right, and Google Translate. So when I click on highlight this text, I click on this button, it read it to me.
Foras longas humans have.
And then I clicked on this settings thing, and I changed the pace, and I changed the voice to what I normally have it, which is UK English female.
For as long as humans have gathered together, there have been cooks preparing food for consumption.
There we go. So that's what I was clicking on that I so stupidly forgot to turn on. I apologize for that. So yeah, so basically you just need to go to lms.kpcompass.com, which is this site that I'm popping up here right now. There we go. And then you type in your email address and your password is KP. So all your accounts are already set up, and then I'm going to email you the documentation for everything that we covered here and more, so you can go into some advanced functions. And if you have any help at all, if you need any help at all, just feel free to email. You can text me. You can call me. If you need something like a student's on fire. And no, I don't deal with fires, but if you have a problem with the student, I can probably fix it in like 5 minutes or less typically. And just contact me. Like the first week will be your initial hurdle, but once you get over that, it's pretty much gonna be smooth sailing. And I guarantee that this platform is probably one of the most easiest ones that you encountered this past year that you've been trying to work with. So at least you've been through the fires already, and now we're setting sail for our home port now. Yeah, Ana, the question was, can you view the lessons before you assign the grade levels? You can view it. Let me show you how. But the best thing is to enroll yourself and then look at it, or you can create a class just for yourself and a master class so you can look at it. But the easiest way to look at it, not the easiest way, but a way to look at it is if you click on in your library, you only see this one item, which is Culinary Principles. If you click on it, you'll open up the book, and this is basically the raw form or the raw version of the book. It's going to tell you how many projects, how many. If you want to look at fundamental knife skills, here is pages. So this is to let you look at the content before you throw it into a class. But typically, a kid won't poke around in a class until you tell them to. I haven't really seen a lot of initiatives, more procrastinators this past semester. So good question. Thank you, Anna or Ina or Ina. Anna? No. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Yeah, and just like my advice is to look through it yourself, see what's in it, see what's available, see what you like and what you don't like, remove what you don't need, differentiate the content for a grade level. There's nothing wrong with repeating content for older grades because they might need a refresher anyway. Because gosh darn it, they might not have gotten all the content they needed for the past semester or last year. So doing some makeup work might not be a bad idea, and they actually have fun. Oh, I forgot to show that our robot travels the world. And so every time you take a check your knowledge. So let's go back here. You probably saw images of this earlier. Fire safety. Here is the every time I take a check your knowledge, we get this what we call chromie in various places. So each module is assigned a random city in the world. So in this case, fire safety is assigned Cario. And it's different for every module. So it's not like this will always be Cario. So here he is in the hostel. So if they do well on a test, they'll get a good picture, like in front of pyramids. If they do poorly on it, they get mediocre pictures. But if they're curious enough, they can click on the picture and it'll take them to where that picture was taken in Google Maps. So here we go. Voila, build a little world geography into your class too. So that's Cario. Let's go to another module. Let's see here. Let's go to introduction. Let's see here. Where are we in? I didn't take anything here. Life skills. Oh, there we go. So let's see. Where are we here? We are in Amsterdam. Okay, Amsterdam. Let's see here. Pasta. Taking a test here, and that's the problem with using a test account that gets all these different results. Forms of contaminants. Oh, here we go. Hong Kong. Let's see here. This is my favorite one. Peking duck. Yeah. Okay, so Ronnie, I've pretty much covered everything that I needed to cover here, and then some. So, are there any closing words that you'd like to make for?
So everybody is like asking for the access you already gave them. Yes. And those are the one you have the name. So let me know who are using and how much. So in this way, I will have a pretty much idea for next year. So
Yes.
depends on how frequent they are using, they will get next year.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely make use of it. It's a great tool that I work hard on. um, but yeah, and if you run into any problems, I'm here to help. A lot of it is very simple issues that can be solved clean easily. Um, and once in a while we might run into a bug, but please report any oddities because we fix them pretty quick if they come up. Although this year's been going pretty smoothly for us, so knock on wood. At
So
least
yeah.
our platform's running pretty smoothly so far, given that our audience went up tremendously in a very short time span.
Anybody, any question regarding KP Compass?
All right, so I posted a link to the website just so you have it before you get the email. That's the site that you go to. And actually, I'll just also post the instructions here so you can have it in chat, and then I'll email that to you. Because sometimes, email gets blocked or lost with spam, and it's really annoying.
Okay, so what I will do is just touch base where some point related to the program before we close the meeting. And even though if we are closing a little bit earlier, the other time for you guys to be practice to navigate, and there is and another reason I did it at the last minute because it just got approved, like I'm getting the curriculum for you, and I wanted to do before the Christmas so you can play around and have practice before you're really using with the students. So that's why it was a little hectic, and today was a little crazy at my end because I had a lot of issues with the internet. Usually it's not the case, but it was today.
Yeah.
But so there are some in the beginning I mentioned that on the other link. So please make sure to register FCCLA chapter in a timely manner. Mr. Bryant is in touch with you with the updates, and we will have a leadership skills conference sometime in January. Follow the pest control and equipment repair procedure as mentioned in last PD to comply in a timely manner, and the detailed information will be on the teams. Please share your good things happening into your program, or you get any recognition or your student get any recognition to post on CT quarterly news. So please share with me, or you can send Cindy Tynard. In this way, we will make sure we can submit to the person who does the CT news. Also check and read any briefing you receive by me, Cindy, or Dr. Diaz, because there are sometimes a good information for you to know. Please make sure to do the PD evaluation to earn the master plan points. So this was the PD. Some of you already registered, and then some of you I registered for you. So you have you are registered already. So just make sure you do the PD evaluation. Saying that, conclude the meeting unless you have any question. And make sure all other left time is for you to practice how to navigate to familiar with this platform.
Yeah, and I'm donning my graduation cap here. So you all should be wearing your graduation cap. You've been trained on KP now. Now, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm always available. So if you're playing around with it and something's not working right, or you accidentally deleted something and you want to get it back, I can help you with that. Because don't worry, you can't break it to the point where I can't fix it. 99% of the time. I'll say 99% of the time. There's some things that you could do purposefully after saying, "Are you sure you want to do this?" which I can't fix. So, other than that, we'll leave with
I'm
with
sorry, I forgot
pirate,
my camera.
yeah. We got my pirate face on, so I'm gonna go and go to the ocean and do some swashbuckling. I'm sorry, I'm a goofball. Uh,
Looks nice.
I'm a programmer. Anyway, yeah, have fun. You know, and we try to make this fun. So you know, if we didn't make this this KP Compass platform fun, then we failed at our jobs.
Okay.
Good seeing you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your
Much
help.
appreciated. Thank
So
you.
Ronnie, you will automatically send us the information.
I'm sending it. I'm gonna send it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you'll send it through Ronnie, or we'll get it directly from you.
He's going to send directly to you for your
Okay.
access. And then I will just make sure with him, confirm with him if you guys are using or not.
Okay.
Because he can monitor that, right?
Yes, yes, I can. Big brother.
Okay.
I'll be spying. Just kidding, I won't. But I hope you will use it because it's a good program. Anyway, all right, good. So let me know if you need any help. I'm here to assist you through the pandemic.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for your time. I know it's after work. So good to see you all. Thank you. Talk to you soon.
We appreciate you.
Bye,
Bye.
Ronnie. Thank you.
Bye, Ronnie.
Bye. Bye, night. Bye, everybody.
I have to visit you guys sometime in the future.
Yeah, you have to visit Miami.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been back there, so we'll do it in person next time.
Yeah. Hope 2021 will be a celebration year.
Yes, it will be very good. Awesome. Stay safe, stay healthy. Have a happy Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank you. And now you can send me the recording so I can send it to them, or I can post on the Teams.
Yeah. So I'm gonna upload it and then send you the link so that they can watch it on YouTube.
Right, no problem. Yeah. I mean, if you want, you can send it to me and I can post on the Teams. So it will be
Yeah.
there. Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Whatever way you want, that's
Sounds
fine.
good.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.